Good morning, everybody. Patty Ann here. Hang on just a second. I've got a stack of stuff down here. I want to show you some things I've been working on. And actually, I had done this before, and I think I did a video for it. I just made a sticker that says Happy Valentine's Day. And these roses are from the Dollar Tree, as is this vase and the pebbles inside. And I really think they're really pretty. I mean, sometimes I don't even like real red roses because they turn so quickly. I used to work in a florist shop too. But these, they really look real and they're really pretty. So anyway, if you're looking to get somebody some red roses, see if your Dollar Tree has them because they're pretty. Okay, now if you look down here at my desk, this is something that I made recently and I think it turned out really cute. It was just one of those pieces of wood from the Dollar Tree, and it has the nice rustic burlap hanger. And all I did was I got these two designs out of Cricut Design Space, and I made this stencil out of just regular Cricut vinyl, and then I used this Dream Deco Art Americana stuff from Joann's. I think it was $1. It was on sale. And then these brushes like this are like 79 cents or something. So I think that turned out really cute. I'm happy with it. So if you want to make something that sort of looks rustic, you know, my second time around I might be a little bit more careful with how I place the white paint on there, but I'm happy with this one. Okay, so let's see, what are we going to do today? Well, for tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to make these bunnies. I could either save these for Easter, and they're for my little grandchildren. You know, I have a little boy and a little girl, twins. And one year, my friend and I, we have embroidery machines too, and we embroidered names on here and dates. I think it was a date, and we sold them. We made quite a bit of money doing it. But this time, I think I'm just going to try to use my flock vinyl because it looks so soft when you use it. It'll be really, really nice. So I think I'll do that with these probably tomorrow. So watch back for the video. I'm trying to decide which color of my flock. You remember the flock vinyl? That's the one that turns out real fuzzy-like and soft. It doesn't look vinyl-y at all. It kind of looks like suede. So I have all these colors that I bought, and I'll have the link below. But I'm not sure any of those would be perfect for these guys. The pink could probably be cute for Layla's, but for Levi's, I don't like how this blue looks, so maybe I'd use the black. Oh, I have white also. Now, usually I have a whole roll of gray, but they were out of stock. And I buy the black by the big old roll too because I use so much of it. Hold on just a second and I'll show you what I'm doing with it. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is not flock. I tried to make a stencil and then use screen printing to make this. But since some of these letters were so fine, they kept coming off when I would do the screen printer. If you want to see how to do that, I can show that because it does work really well if you don't have really fine, like, this was like almost piece of thread fine, or smaller than a piece of yarn fine. Lines right here, but it turns out really nicely in general. And I'll tell you why I wanted to do this. It's because I thought I could cut out one piece of vinyl and make all these shirts because I need to make 10 of them, maybe 12. So let me show you something that does work really easily. Okay, here's the one I was able to do, and as you can see, the text is much larger, so it's much easier to have this work. Home is where and I didn't have enough ink on there for mountains are because it's a little bit, well, not as dark. Let me show you the whole design. So to do the screen printing, what you basically need is one of these screens, and I would buy this. You can make them, but I would buy it $20. I think it's $20 with a coupon, maybe at Michael's. I'll let you know for sure. And then you need one container of ink, and I probably would just get black if I was just getting one, and a squeegee. And once you make your stencil out of Cricut Design, out of vinyl, you can make shirt after shirt after shirt, just using this ink and the squeegee. And so let me know if you're interested in learning how to do this, and I can make a tutorial for you. But back to the flock. Okay, this is just my sample shirt that I do lots of stuff on. This one, this is flock, and you probably can't tell, but it's just really fuzzy. It feels like suede. Maybe you can hear how soft it feels. The sounds. This is also the flock, and I really like the gray. So all of this was done in flock. The EKG thing and the Westie love. My sister has a Westie. So anyway, that's the stuff I'm going to use on their t-shirts and on the bunny ears, because I think it's really, I love it for any kind of shirt, but for these little kids shirts, it'll be really nice to have it soft. So follow me to Design Space and I'll show you what I'm going to be putting on here. So I'm going to put one of these on each shirt, and I'm guessing I'll just make them in black. I went to Cricut Design Space. Let's see, I believe. Uh-oh, can I unweld anybody? I have to keep going back because I've welded this together. There, I finally got out of the welding. Remember, there's no unweld tool. I just had to keep using the undo button. So I wanted to see, I'm going to ungroup this, and I wanted to see where the bee came from. So I can come over here and find the bee and right click on it, and then go to Image Info. And notice it gives me the name of the image, and it says View Cartridge. So I can view the cartridge, and here's where I found the cartridge for the bee that I used. It's called Bug Collection. So if you want to do the same thing, there he is, there's the bee. And of course it's free in access. And just so you know, if you don't have access, I have a link below to it. It's an affiliate link where I get a little tiny commission from it, which helps me to keep this YouTube channel going. All right, let's see. Let me go back to my canvas. So here he is. I have the bee kind. Now this font, on the other hand, if I come over here and click on something and it says Image Info, nothing shows up, because that means this was not in Cricut Design Space, not in Cricut Access. This happens to be one of my fonts that I have in the system. Let me just go to text and type in the word kind, and there, that is not the one I used, so I didn't use Jolly. It was in my system, so I go up here to System, and then I went down until I found it. That's it, I think. Yep. Okay, so it was called AR Herm. Let me write it in here. AR and then a space HERMANN. That's the name of the font that I used here. I'm sure that you'll be able to find something in Cricut Design Space that you like, or on your system if you don't have AR Herman. So, okay, so the next thing that I did was this. You need to, let's see, where's my measuring tape? Here it is. So join me down here at the desk, and I want to get an idea about how big I should make this. So here's the little shirt. They both wear 3T. Take off the tag. And I'm going to kind of measure about how big I want it to be. I think about that big would be great. Actually, from that fold line to that fold line. So let me see about how wide that is. Okay, it's about, I'd say 6.5 inches wide is what I'd like it to be. The word kind, 6.5, maybe 6 inches. I think I'd like the word kind to be about 6 inches wide. So what I need to do, and I'll see how tall it ends up here in Cricut Design Space. So if I take this thing, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to group it. And then I'm going to come up here to where the height and the width is, and I'm going to make it 6 inches wide and hit enter. And I'm going to let the height be whatever it is. So it says now that the height is almost 4.5 inches. So I'm going to look back down here at my t-shirt and let's see. 6 inches wide. 6 inches wide. So from there to there. And if I wanted to, I could mark that with my chalk marker that I have from sewing. Maybe I'll do that. It just comes right out. Okay. So I'm going to mark 6 inches from here to here. And then I said it's going to be, what did I say? Almost about 4.5 inches. So 4.5. So I'd start at about here. And 4.5 will go down to about here. So that looks like that'd be a pretty good size. See, now I can kind of get a rough idea of where that would be. It's not exactly centered perfectly, but I'll do that when I put the vinyl on. So I'm happy with that size. Go back up to Cricut Design Space. And now what I'm going to do, it's the right size. So if I just go to make it like this, watch what happens. Okay, you see it's all crazy, right? So I've got to cancel that out. So now I can either just attach it or weld it. And I think I'll just weld it this time, because there are some pieces here that are touching and I'm not exactly sure how it's been made. So I want it all one piece. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate it. Okay, now I know that I'm going to make one of these out of white and one of these out of black. But I'm going to save time by doing them both at the same time on the same mat. So I'm going to go to Make It. And notice what it has done. It's put them both on the same mat because it thinks it's cutting them both out of black. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a little smaller so you can see it all in one piece by hitting down here. When I load my mat, I'm going to put the black vinyl at the top and the white vinyl at the bottom. So let's see, how big a piece of vinyl do I need? Well, let's look here. We can kind of tell. If I make my piece of vinyl 5 inches by, let's say, 7 inches, or maybe even 5.5 inches by 7, that should be good for both of them. So I'm going to get out my little my little cutter. Of course, you don't have to have one of these, but I think it makes it easier. And I said I was going to cut it, what, 6.5? 6.5. So come on down here. I'm going to cut my vinyl 6.5. Where's the white? Oh, down there. Okay, I'm going to cut my vinyl 5.5 by 7. 5.5 by 7, just to be extra sure. So I'm going to make this come to the 5.5 mark right up here. There's 5, so 5.5 is right there. And I make sure it's up flush with the little lip up here. So 5.5, I'm going to hit it, do that, that's a cutter. 5.5 by 7, right? Yeah. So I flip this the other way and just come up to the 7-inch mark and cut that down. There's my piece I need for the white. Now I need to do the same thing for the black. See if I happen to have any pieces. I put extra pieces inside the roll. Aha, look at this one. Holy moly, I got lucky. Look at, oh my gosh, look at that. That ought to just fit perfectly. Well, that's great. Okay, so now what I've got to do, move that aside. Whoops. Get my mat. My mat's getting to be in poor shape. Let's see, where's my squeegee? Here it is. I got some junk on here. So I said I'm going to put the black at the top. Remember, when you're doing vinyl, it's shiny side down, which just seems really weird, right? But shiny side goes down. Okay, I might need to get a stickier mat because look at this. This is not sticking at all. Sometimes I use my mats a lot, and depending on what I'm doing, I choose a mat that's less sticky or a mat that's very sticky. So I'll be right back. I'm going to get a stickier mat. Okay, I'm actually going to get out a brand new mat. And you know with these mats, of course, once you take off this paper, the protective paper, you keep it because you put it back on when you're done to keep the mat clean. Okay, now I'm going to put my black vinyl at the top, and it should stick. Look at that. Oh boy, yeah. Should stick really well. There we go. And my white at the bottom, shiny side down. I have a whole bunch of mats that I keep for various reasons. They've been used up, but I still can find some uses for them sometimes. All right, so this is ready to go. Shiny sides down on both vinyls. I've got one at the top, and this one's at the bottom. So now up here in Cricut Design Space, I'm going to say continue. And I've got to turn on my machine. And I'm going to connect to it. And I know through trial and error that everyday iron-on works perfectly for this. But if I wasn't sure, here's what I can do. I'm going to cancel this cut. I'm going to go back and I'm going to make a little circle shape. Maybe I'll make a diamond. And I'm going to make it very small. And I think I will make it a different color so it goes on its own mat. And now I'm going to come up here to make it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, the red one right here that I made. I'm going to have it cut it first. Now it's going to cut it out of my black mat and then it's going to stop. But I'll be able to test it to see how well it's done. So let me do that and I will be right back. So if you're not sure sometime how yours is going to work on a specific material, I suggest you do a little tiny test cut right in the corner of where your pattern isn't, where your real file isn't, and just test it and see how well it works. Okay, that's already cut, so I can remove my mat and come back over here to show you, or let's look and see how it's done. So I'll get out my weeding tool and I'll weed this right out. Okay, you'll notice that came out perfectly, and as I can tell right here, it did not cut the carrier sheet, which is really important too, the carrier sheet. So as I said, that's a good way to test. Just do a small test in a corner where none of your real files being cut out and see how that works. Okay, I'm going to send this over to the machine and I'll be back when it's done cutting. Oh my gosh, you guys, I caught myself just in time. I almost forgot to do something. I need to edit and I need to mirror this. Anytime you do HTV, heat transfer vinyl, iron-on vinyl, you must mirror it unless you're doing the printable stuff. Then you don't. But anytime it's vinyl that you're just going to cut out, you must mirror it. Whew, I'm glad I caught that. Okay, I'm going to begin by weeding the black one first. And you'll find that this flock is really easy to weed. And again, I'll have a link to it down below. It really does. It feels like suede. It's really nice. Now, some people get concerned because when they look at the transfer sheet, I don't know if you can see, but there's some fuzz on there still. But you don't need to worry about any of that sticking because the glue part is actually on the back of this, and it's not what's left on the fuzzy part of this front. So let's make sure I'm not killing anything I shouldn't be. So you can see how easily this is weeding, even between the intricate little parts of his legs. Okay, since this is so detailed, because of all the little pieces I'll have to get out of the wings, I'll finish this up, and the white one also, and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, these two things are done. Now I know you guys will think I'm a little bit crazy, but I've told you before I like to be frugal. So this is part of the piece that I weeded off. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this in half. And you remember how we used to cut hearts when we folded things in half? I'm just going to make a heart. And there's a heart. And that's iron-on material. I can use that to iron a little heart somewhere on Layla's, maybe on her sleeve of her shirt. Wouldn't that be cute? Or down here at the waistband. And then I'll do the same thing with Levi's. I have a little piece of vinyl left like this. I'm going to cut a heart out of this one. I could cut anything, any shape I wanted to out of it actually. I'm just going to cut a little heart. And there it is. So now I have a little extra iron-on something for their shirts. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my heat press ready, or my EasyPress. But before I do that, I wanted to show you something. First of all, of course, I've already looked up what temperature I should use, but I like to use this Insul Bright. You can get this at Joann's or any place like that, and it's something that you can use to put inside of like pot holders, so you don't get burnt. So I like to put that on my surface that I'm going to use, and I actually use a big cutting board as my flat surface to do this on. So again, join me down here by the EasyPress and we'll get started. Okay, I'm going to turn on my heat press and I'm going to increase the temperature according to the instructions I have. That's the temperature. I'm going to increase that. Whoops, hit this till it's blinking, and then I go up, and I want it to be, I think it was 320. Let me double check. 320, yes. So let me hit the temperature again till it's blinking. I'm going to make it 320. And then for the amount of seconds, I have it on 30, and I'm going to leave it at that. So while I'm waiting for this to heat up, notice this is the Insul Bright stuff that I told you about that I use to protect just my cutting board that I have under here. Now, I am going to be doing the shirt sleeve. And do you remember those pads that I told you that I have that I love to use? And I'll have a link for them below. The littlest one that comes in the set will actually fit in this 3T toddler sleeve. And the reason why I want it in there is because of this. When I fold this in half like that, let's see, there's the seam, right? When I turn it over onto this side, because I'm going to put my little heart right here, if you feel on yours, you can feel that little bump of a seam right there. I'm not sure where to, bump of a seam right there. And that's going to affect how well it presses onto here. So I'm going to take this little pad and just stick it right into the sleeve. Fits perfectly. And then when I press down on here, I can no longer feel that seam. So that's perfect. So I'm going to get my little heart and I'm going to put it obviously fuzzy side up. Now when I go to make this, I am going to take a piece of Teflon to cover it because there is no longer a carrier sheet on here. Take a piece of Teflon and put it over top of that before I put the heat press on it. Okay, the heat press just beeped to let me know it was ready, and if you can see my fingernails, sorry about that. That's all the paint that's in them from yesterday's project. Anyway, here's the heart. Get that Teflon sheet that I mentioned to you. Remember, I have that little piece of foam in there too that's keeping it so the seam doesn't bother it at all. Bring my heat press over. I use the medium-sized one. I like it the best for me to be able to hold it. So I'm going to start the timer and give it a good pressure. So I'm pressing down. And I've got the timer set for 30 seconds. Okay, time's up, so I can take it off. And this is a cold peel. So, but obviously I don't have anything to peel, so I'm just going to leave it right like that. Okay. So that guy's done pretty much. I may want to redo him at the end. Looks great. All right, so now I'm going to get the front of my shirt. So now I'm going to put this pad up in there. And what I like to do is to have the neckline fall off the edge of that pad, so that neckline, again, doesn't distort how smoothly the pressure is on here. So I'm going to put this on here, center it, right like that. So that's about a finger away from his neckline. Maybe I want it about 2 fingers away. Okay, and it's ready. What is that? Okay, ready? And again, hit the timer, give it some pressure. Okay, it says the timer's up, so I'll take it off. So this is a cold peel, so I'm not going to peel it right now. That would mess it up. So now I'll go on to Layla's shirt. The first thing I'll do is her little sleeve. I'll take off the tag. And put this little pad in here. If you don't have these little pads, you can try to cut up a foam piece or something. As someone has said, I've said before that this sort of reminds me of a mouse pad. But I would not recommend you use that myself. I mean, it might be just fine, but seeing that I don't know what the chemical makeup of a mouse pad is, I'm not sure about heating it, if it would give off toxic fumes. And I feel like I get enough toxic fumes everywhere in my life that I don't need to add to it when I don't have to. That's why I recommend these pads. All right, there's that. Put her little heart on here. And again, cover it with the Teflon sheet. If you have parchment paper, that would work as well. There we go. All right, set the timer. Okay, time's up. Here's the heart. I can take this pad out and preheat for a few seconds. And then put this on. I said about 2 fingers down, I think. There's the center. So again, once I get on here properly, I will do this. Okay, time's up. Okay, again, this says it's a cold peel, so I'm going to let this one cool. Let's see if this one's getting cool. It's not quite cool. So what sometimes people do is they rub it up against cooler surfaces to help it take on some of the coolness of that surface. And so I will now peel it. Okay, perfecto. All right, so now what I would do is turn it inside out and press it again for 15 seconds on the wrong side, just to make sure. This is what the EasyPress recommends. So again, hit the button, and since I have this set for 30 seconds, obviously I'll just go to 15. Okay, I'll stop that. Isn't that cute? And if you could feel it, it's like a fuzzy, velvety feel, like It's just really nice. Okay, let me see if hers is cool. Yep. It's pretty cool. I can rub it on here if I want to, just to make extra sure, because it's a cold peel. Okay. Let's peel this and see how it worked. Great. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, I'll turn hers inside out and do 15 seconds on both the Be Kind and the heart. First, Be Kind. Okay. And I'll turn this one back around. Oh, no, do the heart first. So now what I would do is let these set for probably 48 hours actually before I would let them wear them, or before any kind of laundering whatsoever. But I think they turned out really cute, and I think that they will love them. So that's it for today's tutorial. Tomorrow, as I said, I'm going to do flock on these bunny ears. And as I said, in the past, I've done embroidery on them. These were something that were selling like hotcakes last year at Walmart, I think it was. So I bet they'll be available again. This, you could make it for Easter, or you could make it in time for Valentine's Day. I just think their little faces are so cute. And the ears are nice and soft on the inside. They're not like really fuzzy, so I think that'll be especially nice for our flock vinyl. So you can use regular vinyl too if you have it. I just prefer the flock. So again, thank you very much for joining me. Have a nice day. Hey, if you like my videos, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And I love comments and questions, so if you could do that, that'd be fabulous. Also join us over at our Facebook group. The link for it will be down below, as well as the link for the flock vinyl. So again, thank you. Bye-bye.